Usually do.
There we go.
Excellent. Hello, everybody. My name is Steph McLandridge. For those that don't know me, I'm the president of the Neighborhood Association. I'm calling this meeting to order. We are going to jump right into it. Has anybody has a chance to review the meeting agenda? Would like to request that any new business is added. And I do have 10 minutes budgeted to new business, but I do want to invite folks that might have things they want to talk about. What do you want your neighborhood association to talk about? And if they don't, that's fine. And I'll try to include this in future meetings. So if folks think of something between now and a month from now, I want to have some space for just input, comments. What would you like to see your neighborhood association be doing?
Actually, I do have something I'd love
Yeah.
the neighborhood association to talk about. I'm Robin Schaffler, and I want to ask on behalf of, because I usually am online watching, on behalf of some of the people who are online, when you are going to speak and you're in here, if you could say who you are, that'd be super helpful to the people who can't see you, because most of us can't be seen by the people who are online. So I've had that experience a lot, like who's talking? Anyway, I'm Robin Schaffler and I'm talking. Fire danger this summer. We're gonna have horrible fires. We have a lot of trees in this neighborhood and I'm worried about that. And I'd love to see my neighborhood association talk about that.
Excellent.
Parks. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Robin. All right. As I forgot the cheat sheets that Pat prepared for me. See how well I remember how I did to do my job. All right. So any other comments on the agenda? Hearing
I
none.
wanted to
Yeah.
have the secretary change the wording of the motion,
Okay.
and I'll hand you the copy here, but it,
Oh,
the
perfect.
treasurer moves that the board approve the budget as posted on the April blah, blah, blah meeting materials.
Acceptable.
Thank you. Because
All right.
hopefully tonight it will move from projected to approved.
And I will read that, Peter. Thank you. And anything else? All right, hearing none, the meeting agenda is approved as amended. Let's look at the meeting minutes from the March meeting. Tad, any comments or clarifications for the March meetings minutes? Okay, hearing none, the March meeting minutes are approved. And now I'm going to go and welcome, I would like to go back to the first agenda item, which I skipped right through in my haste, and welcome any new members. Let's see here. I heard you introducing yourself to some folks. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Alex Smith. I don't know that I'm a member, but I'm here with Southwest Outreach.
Okay, excellent. Are you in Multnomah or are you in the general vicinity?
I'm in Multnomah, yeah.
Oh, excellent. Fantastic.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming.
Should be.
Anybody else need a?
I've been here before, Diane Hirschleth, and I'm not a member, but I've become a member, and I live in Multnomah.
Excellent, Diane. Thank you for attending. Anybody online? I see we have a past president here, Diane. Hello.
Hi.
Heidi. Here she is.
Sort of.
Anyone else online care to introduce themselves and say what makes you interested in the neighborhood association? Okay. I'm not going to call on anybody today. Yes, please.
Lumbo, I'm a member of Southwest Outreach. I used to live in Multnomah Village and I don't anymore, but I'm here to support Mary and others.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Then without any further ado, we'll have we have a guest tonight here joining us. It is Southwest Outreach. And we've got 20 minutes programmed for this, but we are 4 minutes ahead of schedule. So we have about 24 minutes. And Mary, you don't have to talk for the whole time. Maybe have some Q&A at the end, I hope.
Absolutely.
Excellent. All right. And now introduce Mary Knox
Yeah.
and your team at Southwest
Yes,
Outreach.
I'm Mary Knox. I've
Thank you.
lived in Multnomah Village since 1989. And I've been a part of Southwest Outreach for 3 years. I think I was to do the math. And we appreciate being invited because I know our group has come up in various conversations that have happened, particularly around the Multnomah Safe Rest Village, and it's nice to have the time to really introduce ourselves and talk about what we do. So Southwest Outreach is a small mutual aid organization, although it's growing, so not so small anymore. It started with 2 people, right, Marilyn? 2 neighbors. The very first night in 2022 during a winter storm, handing out blankets. And that's literally how it started. And it grew pretty fast from there as these neighbors really started seeing their houseless neighbors and wanting to respond to the humanitarian crisis of people being forced to live outside. Through those initial relationships, they started asking questions of houseless neighbors, you know, how could we be most helpful? I think the initial thinking was, we'll start a warming center. I heard that story. And really what people said is, we'd love a place to consistently be able to get showers. And so, yeah.
No, keep talking.
Yeah, okay.
Keep talking.
And
We were
so
just
that's,
remembering that first night.
That first
whole-
night, yeah.
Donated
Donated
Oh,
blankets,
my
right?
gosh.
Yeah.
So, over time, they were partnered with Riversgate Congregation, which is now a congregation here at Village Grace. And Riversgate was down on the corner of Canby and, well, kind of Capitol Highway, who generously lent us their basement hall with a shower. And that's how our Tuesday program started. So, big component of what we do is we, on Tuesdays, provide showers now here at Village Grace and a hot meal, and it grew into a supply table, and it grew into, we're now over about 40 volunteers. And we've amassed a lot of community resources. We have a community resource book. People can come on Tuesday and hang out with us, and we can hear their stories and offer help when we have it, including help fixing car brakes or help figuring out how do you apply to that crazy lottery system for housing through Home Forward and things like that. So that's what we do on Tuesdays. And then we have about 2, sometimes 3 outreach teams a week that visit people on the streets, either literally on the streets or in their camps if we're invited, and when their camps have not been swept. So on those visits, we check in with people. We have some supplies from the county, like water, blankets, hygiene kits, things like that. And then we are funded through grants and donations, and through those monies, we're able to supply other supplies.
Mary, be sure to speak up.
Okay, sorry. So, you know, that's what we do now. And I just want to talk a little bit about current conditions and some of the things we're facing, and then have lots of time for people to ask questions. So right now, we are in another flow of pretty massive sweeps in this area. And I assume some of you have seen these rapid response teams around, or the bright green posting signs in the neighborhood. I don't know. But virtually every camp that we have visited since the fall has been completely obliterated and swept. And I can say with pretty 100% accuracy that not one of those people swept is anywhere but on our streets, just not in the camp that they had established. They did not get shelter. They, you know, all the things that have been promised with sweeps did not happen. They're just deeper into the woods. or just on the move. You know, they can't really set up a tent anywhere. They're sleeping in doorways. They're
Speak up, Mary, it's really
Sorry.
important what you're saying, super important, and I
Okay.
don't think people online.
Okay,
can
I'm
hear
sorry.
you very well.
I feel like I'm shouting, but so I
No.
apologize for the people right in front
What
of
you
me.
gotta do.
In any event, so right now we're dealing with a lot of sweeps. Last summer, the sweeps died down. Which was really great. I think that's when the mayor and the city were really ramping up their overnight shelters. And then once that reached the goal level of overnight emergency shelters, we saw the emergence of the sweep teams again. So it's been going on pretty aggressively, really since November, but just huge numbers in January and February and into March. So we're dealing with that. And the other thing we're dealing with is issues out of the MSRB. Southwest Outreach has been a big supporter of the Multnomah Safe Rest Village. Some of our founding members helped draft the Good Neighbor Agreement, along with Robin. Yeah. And we have been a real supporter of the Multnomah Safe Rest Village. We have we partnered a little bit with Sunstone Way. We've made some attempts to partner with Urban Alchemy. And when the Safe Rest Village expanded to 100 pods, part of the Good Neighbor Agreement was to prioritize a number of those spots for local unhoused people. And so we had the connections with those people, and we got about 35 of the people that we routinely visited with and saw into the Safe Rest Village. I can say now all but one of them have been exited. Almost entirely back to the streets. I know about one person who actually got housing, and I know a couple people who are in different types of shelters. But that's been tough. And even before those people were exited, they kept coming to our Tuesday program. I mean, I think what's unique about our program is we really establish relationships with people, and then we keep them, you know, even some who've moved to Clackamas County. I mean, will come back on Tuesdays and visit with us. So that's one thing that we're dealing with, and we support the SRV. We think there are problems. There are problems in exiting people back on the streets, and there are problems for nearby neighbors who are dealing with distressing situations like, you know, screaming at all hours and all of that. And we feel strongly the response is not to close the SRV or make it some kind of high barrier shelter, which is kind of a ridiculous idea in my mind, but to hold the city accountable for oversight and accountability, because those pods cost a lot of money, all of our tax paying money, and the services are not being provided. And you know, we feel the response to the problems needs to make it better. I mean, I think we all want to live in a neighborhood that takes care of our most vulnerable citizens. I am proud to live in a neighborhood that has a Safe Rest Village and has transitional housing. But I feel like the city council needs to take over oversight and accountability, because I think what we were promised is just absolutely not happening, and it should happen. So I'm gonna stop there. It's a lot of information, and give people an opportunity to ask questions or get clarification. Yes?
Have two questions.
Yes.
One-
Could you say who you are? Sorry,
Anita,
so that for the people
yeah,
out there.
Anita Walden. So how many people do you guys service in general, an estimate? And then the other question is, you mentioned that the people, the 35 people who you brought into the Safe Rest Village, most of them exited out. Like, why is that happening?
Well, that's a question for Sunstone Way and Urban Alchemy, but what they're usually told is they're being exited because they're not engaging. And what we hear from the other side is it's very hard to engage in the process of moving towards stability, because the care coordinators are not there, like literally not there, not available, won't talk to them, don't really have information. I've had people come to our Tuesday program with very simple relatively simple problems, and they say that, you know, they live at the SRV and they say that there's nothing that can be done, and we look at our resource book and we refer them to the Clear Clinic to get work on the legal expungement process. I mean, this one gentleman was told by their care coordinator that there's no way he could ever get housing because of his record, which is just not true. And so, you know, that's what we're seeing. And sometimes it's because people can't live within the rules.
Sometimes it's disruptive behavior, so if somebody's upset and screaming, which does happen, you know, the concept is that there should be somebody on site who has de-escalation skills and can work with that person to calm them down and get them quiet. That isn't happening, and that's a problem for nearby neighbors and also for people who are also sharing that space inside the Safe Rest Village. Sometimes it's because they can't keep their unit clean, which they have 8 by 8 feet, and it's very difficult to keep it organized and clean. And a lot of people, I think, just need help understanding how to keep things organized.
I mean,
They might need a different kind of shelving. They might not be able to reach the highest shelf, so they can't put anything up there. There's lots of things. But they just need somebody to be able to work with them on those problems so that the problems can be solved and maybe they can stay in shelter.
What we found from the stories we've heard is that the skill level just isn't there. We had one gentleman who we've known for years who was exited. He had a real meltdown when his cat got out. He was exquisitely distressed. He completely flipped out. He was exited on the spot. Afterwards, he said, you know, he felt horrible about it. He asked to come back and work with somebody on his anger management issues. He didn't assault anybody. He lost it, you know, he's got a lot of challenges and he lost it. And we look at that going, what a great opportunity. That's why they're there with trained staff to help people learn to stabilize and recover. And so that's where we've been distressed that it's kind of fallen flat. But the answer isn't to close it down and have those 100 people or 117 or whatever it is now back on the streets. The answer is let's all try to do better. Let's figure out a way to do better.
Was his request to be readmitted?
No. We talked to him about going through the formal appeal. The formal appeal process is a little bit challenging. And at that point, he was like, you know, I'm done. He's been on the streets a long time in this neighborhood where he grew up. He felt comfortable going back. Yeah, yes.
I assume you have, and if you haven't, it's fine, but what are the the 3 counselors from District 4's thoughts are on whether or not there should be more resources for the
Well, I can't
SRV?
really speak for them,
But as it happens, we've communicated with
I
them.
assume you have, okay.
We communicate with them, and some of our members are actually at the Zimmerman and Clark Town Hall that's happening in Selwood right now.
Okay,
The same day and time. I think Counselor Green is, you know, very supportive of the concept of let's make transitional housing better and let's be smarter about it.
Okay.
And one of the things that has emerged in knowledge through this current budget cycle is the micro villages that are the self-governed micro villages. When you look at their statistics of people who move into stability, they're much better than the SRVs that cost a whole lot more. And so I think Mitch Green is looking at that. He's got a PhD in economics and he's looking at it going, you know, why wouldn't we invest in something that has a better track record? Yeah, Julie.
This is Julie. Who is financially responsible for addressing houselessness? Is it the federal government? Is it the state? Is it the city?
Yes.
Is it the county?
Yes.
Is it what?
Yep.
Well, it's everything, right? The
Yeah,
county
yeah,
and the city both have a piece.
Yeah.
And they've divorced over it, right?
Right.
Like the Multnomah Safe Rest Village used to be kind of run by both. Like when I was on the Community Advisory Committee, we had a county representative at our meetings, along with the Portland Solutions, city people. And then, I don't know if you can remember, they basically split ways and like, we're gonna split up the money, you take this piece, I'll take this piece.
That's why when,
But they blame each other all the time anyway.
well, when we talk
Yeah.
about like, we need our city councilors, okay, well, I think that's the city, so then if Multnomah, it's almost systemically meant to fail so that, no, the
Right,
accountability
but-
can be,
But at least I would hope with our city council now and our new government, which is young and has a lot of growing pains, can say, well, if Portland is gonna be responsible for this piece of it, let's do it
Yeah.
really well. They can't solve that problem of communication with the county, and as you know, with the feds took away a lot of money for housing. We have one woman that we have known for a long time. She's now at the Delta Park shelter. She moved there when Sons Done Away left. She's in an ADA room. She has pretty significant disabilities. And she did the lottery through Home Forward. She won the lottery. She got a voucher in November. It was like, break open the champagne. Well, she's still in shelter because she got the voucher, but she's like now number 243 on the list. She started at like 320 something in November. So now 6 months later, she hasn't moved that much because the feds withdrew the money from that program. So she has a voucher, but the program doesn't have the funds to pay their part of the rent. So she's in a city shelter with a Section 8 voucher with what we all know are empty apartments. I mean, it's,
That is one example.
yeah, that's just one example that's,
Thousands.
One thing I've been curious about is how I think there's a lot of unaccountability on the part of the city. And are there any places where we can bring our tiny little bit of power to bear on learning how the city evaluates Urban Alchemy's performance?
yeah, well, I think that the city council needs to take over oversight and accountability. And I think they're poised to do that. I think
From
the mayor's office,
From the
Portland
mayor's-
Solutions is responsible for oversight and accountability. And, I think they're very nice people. I enjoyed working with some of them on the CAC, but there is no oversight and accountability.
yeah,
And and when we've asked, what about this? You get a lot of like, well, we don't have those statistics or
Mhm.
whatever. I mean, we've had some success. We helped a woman fight her exit. She was gonna be exited from the SRV. Felt very unfairly, and we helped her with an appeal process, and somebody from that office really went to bat for her and helped with that appeal process, and that was great, so it's not like bad people, but it just feels like there aren't systems for accountability.
Yeah.
And who's watching how much money is being spent? And what are we getting for it? We were all sold on this wraparound services idea, but I don't see it.
Do we have, San Juro, do we have any sense of how much services there, like what the level of service is right now? What it was when it was open? Like, do we have any sort of measurability on what they're doing for those what's supposed to be wraparound services?
I don't.
Not exactly, yeah.
It's
I
hard
wouldn't
to
say
get an answer.
measurability, but what we do know is that some of the things that would seem like just baseline, like being able to always find your care counselor and talk with them, that just isn't happening. So I can't measure that, and I only know it from what people tell me. I don't know who my care coordinator is. I haven't been able to meet with them. I'm told they're not here today. Now there's a different name I'm supposed to see. It's just, so then if you're not meeting with your care coordinator, you're not engaging. But how do you meet with that person? So that's just one example of the services not, that are promised not being available.
I mean, I think the best measurability, and I really tried to get 2025 statistics for you, is how many people have moved into stability.
Yeah.
Which is not
Huge.
just their own apartment with a key for the door, but it's also, you know, maybe a supported group home. I mean, you know, more stable than a pod in a shelter space. And Portland Solutions Office could not give me that data.
Cannot
You know,
or will not?
Well, they said they cannot. Their dashboard has been a mess. It's kind of that, if you ever looked at that city government dashboard, it just kind of crashed in September. They've been revamping it since then. They weren't given access to the county HIM at homeless, whatever it was.
HMIS.
That's the system that Urban Alchemy enters their data. So they record all their exits. You know, in theory, this information is available. I don't think people are lying or hiding it. Well, I mean, they could be, but you know, there's a system for them to upload it. The city didn't have access to it till just now. So Loudy Porter, who's communications, said, we just got access to this. I'm going to pull this together for you, but she didn't get it in time. But, you know, informally, what I've heard is the SRBs are not doing very well moving people into housing.
Okay, I see a hand up, for Lisa.
Hi, Mary. Mary, thank you for presenting tonight. I struggled through the CAC to try to get those statistics as well. And Loudy finally provided them to me. 200 people have been exited, 10%, so 20 people of the 200 exited have gone into permanent housing, 8% into temporary, approximately 40% sort of not sure where they went, and it just goes down from there. So, you know, I'm an adjacent neighbor. I wear a different hat, but I do want to say I echo your comments on the fact that the Portland Solutions and the operator are failing, and we need different oversight.
Thank you, Lisa.
Just to quickly follow up, so I wonder if that's someplace. I think it's going to be difficult to push on the city for budget, but one thing that may be possible is we push on them for statistics or information about what's actually being provided.
I mean, one of the things I did is we know of one person who came to our Tuesday problem. We got to know who actually died in the SRV, and that got me thinking, and I wanted to know what the death rate was. You know, it's a public health issue, right? And Portland Solutions did not have that information. You know, even though the city's writing the check, you'd think they'd want to know, right? But I did go to the county and I submitted a FOIA and got the information. It is public information. I wasn't asking for names, you know, you can get coroner's reports, but it was like, you had to jump through a lot of hoops to get it. I mean, one of the ideas that we've floated to Mitch Green, and even before this was proposed, by Sandy, is instead of the sweeps, which do nothing, it makes homeless people kind of invisible because it literally sweeps them into the bushes, but it doesn't manage houselessness, right? Is to provide space to have stable tents and maybe provide garbage pickups and porta potties. If the reality is there are not enough roofs to put over the heads of the human beings in our area, then isn't it more humane to at least not make it, to at least provide them with a legal place and provide maybe some basic hygiene And trash management, because people say, I don't want to see the camps, it's trash everywhere. I'm like, nobody wants to see that. The people living there don't want it. But what are their options when their blankets sopping wet and their clothes are all muddy and, you know, what are they gonna do? So, you know, it didn't get any traction when it was floated a year ago. We'll see.
Didn't there used to be a tent city? I remember meeting people who lived there whenever I lived here.
Downtown.
Yeah,
downtown.
downtown, there've been several,
No, there
but
was
not here.
one like, down past like the second Fred Meyer.
Oh,
Well, yeah, but
You know
not
what I'm talking
sanctioned.
Not sanctioned with.
People were
porta
camping
potties.
there, but
it was big, yeah.
No.
It wasn't official, but I know what you're talking.
I think they have one in, I know Medford, Oregon has one, right? Or Grants Pass does, yeah,
I don't know.
right
I mean,
downtown,
we're
there's a
just
whole
like,
big parking
the
lot.
first thing to do is to stop the sweeps, and then if there really isn't space for people to have a roof, then we have to at least be humane and, you know, provide what we can. Yeah, Julie.
How do you have so many volunteers? How do
That's a
people
good
learn about
question.
this stuff and say, I would like to do this very hard job in my copious free time? How does that happen?
Well, so there's lots of ways, mostly word of mouth. Robin has organized a farmer's market listening table that Southwest Outreach participates in. Pat participates in the Laundry Love program, which we're also pretty involved in. And we get volunteers there. And some of it is through lived experience, and that's how I found Southwest Outreach. We had a woman living in, not completely derelict, but an RV about a block from my house for 3 months. And the neighbors, you know, there was mixed neighborhood responses, you can imagine. I think most of my neighbors who I really like a lot were mostly worried about her and like, what can we do? You know, this is not a good situation. And some were very afraid. I'm afraid of her. She's odd. She yells at night sometimes, and some were a little ridiculous. Like, I'm sure she's polluting the Phantom Creek watershed. Like, you know, I mean, you get the range of responses. So a couple of us dove a little deeper, and we ran into Southwest Outreach kind of through a miracle, because we don't have a website. We didn't then, and we don't now. So we're trying to work on that, but we're very low tech. And I met Sandy and Cindy from Southwest Outreach, who helped us with forming our relationship with this person, and talked to us about maybe some resources. And I got really involved in it, and I helped her get a spot at Sunderland Safe Park, which was closed in September. This is tragic. Yeah.
Anita asked a
Last
question like this.
last question here.
Okay. Anita asked a question earlier that I want to echo, and that's how many campers or relationships or individuals do you?
It's pretty fluid, but you know, when we go out on outreach, we visit with anywhere from 3 to 10.
The list was 25.
Yeah. Well, we
25.
kind of keep a master list
Yeah.
of who we know out there, but that is a fluid thing, right? But then people who we don't see outside, we routinely see every week. In
With the showers.
here, yeah, on Tuesdays.
Everybody
some
that we
people-
find is invited to the shower,
Mhm.
and we're looking for them all the time.
Yeah.
And we give them literature.
And I have an
directions.
example of our flyer. I didn't have enough for people to keep them, but you could look at it. The flyer that we handed out, which shows how to
Yeah.
get to the Tuesday.
And how many show up for showers?
It really depends. I mean, what are we hitting, like around 25?
Yeah. We have a mobile shower coming in now, and 10 people took showers today.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, it was a little hard move from Riversgate, to hear one, there isn't a shower in place, so it took us a while to arrange the Union Gospel mobile showers. But also, it took a while for people to find us, you know,
Yeah.
so we were slow at first, but it's really been building, and it's a
Thank
lot
you
of
so much.
word,
Thank you.
word on the street.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you a
Mrs. Robin,
nonprofit?
I have one more.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, a 501c, blah, blah,
Oh,
blah.
we're not.
Not five oh one.
No,
Or
we're not.
Carolyn can speak to
They're
that.
not.
That's a
I'm
hard
sorry,
one.
we're not a 501c3 nonprofit.
No, we're
You
fiscally
were-
sponsored
Okay.
by a 501c3.
St. Andrew's Church. I just want to say one last thing, and this is Robin again. The reason they get so many volunteers is that it's really inspirational. When people hear about it, they're like, I want to help. How can I help? That's the reason.
Thank you.
We, part of our mission is we meet people where they're at. We are not a charity organization. We are neighbors helping neighbors. So you wouldn't go to your neighbor and say, let me tell you all the things I think you need to do to improve your life. And we don't. And we don't do that with people. We get to know them and then we are there as a resource.
Well, excellent. Yes, Macy, please.
Hi, I'm Macy. You mentioned about that you didn't think it'd be a good idea to change it from a low barrier to a high barrier. Could you say a little more about that or why that would
Yeah.
not be good?
Because, well, first of all, it is a low barrier, and yet when, particularly when it expanded, it wasn't being managed as a low barrier because Sunstone Way staff were doing personal interviews and saying yes or no, whether somebody could come in, which we complained about Portland Solutions, and because that's not in their contract. It was supposed to be low barrier, referred by city outreach workers, et cetera. The most vulnerable people, the people that are suffering the most, the chronically homeless, untreated mental illness, unmanaged substance abuse disorder, need services, and making the SRV somehow, I mean, first of all, where do you draw the line? What's a high barrier person? Whoever's running that would love it because they're probably the easiest to maybe help transition to stability. But they're not our vulnerable neighbors out on the streets, right?
Mhm.
And then what's the concept? You make nice Multnomah Village high barrier, and then you put the low barrier where? Some other neighborhood, an industrial complex that's totally divorced from the community. A lot of the people that we serve, particularly the people with the highest needs, the biggest human suffering, have lived here their whole lives. This is what they know. That's why they stay under that bridge. Even when they're swept every 2 weeks, they go back because it's what they know. So, we could be like Utah and create a detention center for homeless people and ship them out to the desert. I mean, that's what Utah's doing, right? But I don't see that. I don't see that as humane. I don't see that as really solving any problems because how are you really going to define high barrier versus low barrier?
Mhm.
All right. Thank you so much for
Sure,
coming and
thanks,
chatting with
everyone.
us. And thank you for the services that you provide in the community.
And your Instagram was shared. You have an Instagram.
We have an Instagram and we are really seriously talking about a website.
Okay. And what's the best way for folks to get in touch with Southwest Outreach?
There's a flyer, I think it has my phone
Oh.
number and Sandy's, and I'm
Okay.
happy to get texts or calls.
Julie, will you put that into the chat?
I'm gonna post this flyer.
Okay, perfect. And then let's post the contact info. All right. Mary, thank you so much. And thank you everyone from Southwest Outreach that came to help participate today. Thank you. Okay, we are gonna move on to officer and committee reports. We'll have president, treasurer, secretary, and then equity, land use and transportation and village park. I guess I get to go first. I do not have much for a president's report. We are filling up our year with special guests. We've had 2 out of 3 of our District 4 councilors come and talk. And I went and invited Mitch Green to come talk. I don't think they've gotten back to me, but I'll tap them again. Outside of that, I think there's only 2 or 3 months that are still open in the year. So if folks have ideas of special guests, then reach out to me and we'll see who we can get lined up. I think it's September and August, or sorry, September, July, and October are still open. So it's just those three. But I think you were suggesting Habitat for Humanity might bump.
We moved, yeah.
Okay.
Sharon Myron comes it comes in May, and then Habitat in
Okay.
June.
All right. That's about all I have. Treasurer report. I think you've got a big chunk down at the bottom.
I've already heard it.
What?
You have a big chunk down at the bottom.
I have a big chunk of time at the bottom, and that will be to talk about the budget. But my first topic is just a report on the first quarter finances. Those of you who may have looked over the meeting materials may have seen a chart like this. These are our financial statements, our statement of financial position, our statement of financial activity. And then in the bottom right corner are the account balances for all our many projects. The first quarter was pretty quiet. We had a handful of donations and livability through a trash cleaning party on MLK Day and bought some supplies for that. And otherwise, not much financial activity. We had just under $21,000 in funds right now, which is a healthy position, and we have no liabilities. So I'm happy with our position right now, and we'll talk later about the three other documents in the meeting materials, which are all about the budget. So, thank you.
Thank you, Peter. Julie, secretary report.
Secretary has three things. One, if we didn't already mention it, Thinker Toys is now housing all of our items that we have, our tents and
Our community event items.
our community event items, our A-frames and those types of things. So that transition went well. And thank you to Thinker Toys for letting us hold our stuff there for free. Number two, I'll work with the board on this. Christopher Lett, one of our board members, would like to step down from the active board position. He's overwhelmed with too many things and wants to make sure that that there's an open board position for anyone else who could spend more time on it. So I will.
Does he put that in writing?
Yeah, well, in an email, and I can forward that to the board. As a matter of procedure, is it a motion to do that? Or how does a board member request to be removed from the board? Is it just an email?
He's already done that.
Okay.
I consider him out.
Okay, thanks. And then the last thing, every first Tuesday of the month, we have coffee break with M&A at Lost and Found Coffee. I encourage any board members that buy them a cup of coffee. And we've had more folks hear about it and swing by, and now we have A-frames coming in the next weeks or two. So we'll have them out the week beforehand in the village to remind neighbors to come by. And some of us, this evening doesn't work, and sometimes it's not as fun as, you know, really getting one-on-one kind of time. So I encourage our board members to come so you can represent, and then I encourage all the neighbors to come and get a free cup of coffee and meet each other. That's it.
All right, Will, Equity Committee report.
Equity Committee, drop the mouse. Anyway, basically, we're having an interesting week. We are the third Thursday of the month we meet, and the second Tuesday is the board meeting, but they're in the same week. So we're meeting this Thursday, and I encourage people to go to the Equity Committee page on the website and see the link to our meeting. It's an Zoom meeting, and it's an interesting process. I wanted to go over the projects we are focusing on, just list them and then highlight a couple. We're working on 6 different areas this year. We start off with an urban farm garden project at Stevens Creek Crossing, low-income housing project. We have a really neat thing that Diane Parrish developed called a reading challenge, where we pick a subject each month to read on. subjects by underrepresented communities. This month, it's Poetry Out Loud. There are all sorts of poetry, and there's Black history and so on. We support people who are threatened by ICE in the neighborhood. We passed out red cards and other materials in the neighborhood area, the business district especially. We keep tabs on them and on what's going on with ICE. Fortunately, ICE seems to have melted a while here, so let's keep our fingers crossed there. We also reach out in general to affected communities. One of the things we found is that people who are underrepresented like to get together, and we have some money. We can put on multicultural meals and get-togethers. We're talking with people who are in an organization that's our fifth project is supporting a group called SWEC, Southwest Equity Coalition, which is led by communities of color and organizations. And when we were talking, when they were talking about what they were doing, they said, let's break bread together. It's a great way to get to know each other. So that'll be one of our projects. And finally, I'm the board liaison to the Community Advisory Committee, which is a separate thing. I consider it an equity project because one of the things equity does is help the neighborhood get together with people who are underrepresented, underserved, and sort of on the downside of the up and down dimension. And this is both the neighbors who suffer from the imposed on project they have, the Safe Rest Village, and the people in the village themselves. So those are the 6 things. I want to highlight the reading challenge is a lot of fun. And the reaching out to the affected communities is a way to broaden the reach of the neighborhood association to everybody in the neighborhood. We typically are involved pretty much a subset of the neighborhood, and there are a lot of people who either don't know about us or don't feel that there's a place for them. And rather than be a de facto homeowners association or something, I want us to really have representation from and to people who don't normally show up at neighborhood associations. So you can learn more. Our equity report is on the web, and our website is it's real simple. It's the Neighborhood Association /equity. So that's what we're doing.
Thank you, Will. I love that idea of the Southwest Equity Coalition and Multnomah Neighborhood Association joint event.
Yes.
That sounds great. All right. Thank you so much, Will. Land use and transportation. Shelby, I think I saw you online.
Hi, yes.
Updates to deliver.
I do not have too many land use updates. There hasn't been a lot of new applications or early assistance reviews. I'm personally excited for the sidewalks that went in my street, which is great. I love it. So take a walk down Garden Home and 46 and you'll enjoy them too. Transportation wise, I'm going to pass that back to you, Stefan. I haven't heard too many updates. I went to the PTA meeting for Maplewood last week and they didn't have any updates on the bike bus route. So I didn't know if you had actually heard anything because I have not.
I think, okay, so for a lot of that stuff, I think the plan is just extreme patience is required for any sort of transportation upgrade. So
yeah.
As far as I know, there's a couple upgrades that are planned for the neighborhood, mostly centered around sort of downtown Multnomah and along Multnomah Boulevard specifically. So stay tuned on that. I guess the only other bit that is kind of exciting if you like to pay taxes is tomorrow. I believe there's going to be a transportation utility fee that will be assessed to everybody. It'll be $12 a month per home and $8.40 a month for everybody for each multi-unit dwelling. And the goal of that, in addition to a utility fee for any utilities that cut into the roadway, They hope to generate $69 million a year for PBOT. And I do know that at least Counselor Zimmerman is working hard to try to tie that into the SIPP program, which would have the potential to deliver a very meager amount of sidewalk projects to the neighborhood. So stay tuned on that.
I think
But
when you say patience, what you mean is generational patience.
yeah. But no, it does sound like that this fee, and it's a fee, not a tax. That means they don't have to get voter approval. It sounds like tomorrow this fee will get approved and it will hit everybody in January of 2027. So
How's that going to work? Is it a monthly fee? did you
I
say?
think it's gonna show up on your water bill as
Oh.
another line item that you'll pay every 3 months. So it'll be $36 every 3 month period for a house and $8.40 for every apartment.
Per month.
Julie.
I did want to say about the traffic safety event, because I think it
Oh,
happened.
yeah.
So, Pam Fox, I don't know if she is in attendance, but really, I mean, it was in partnership with, Hayhurst and, oh, I'm doing such a bad job.
Maplewood.
Maplewood, thank you. Got together and Sarah, there you are. And they did, this is their second or third annual, traffic safety event in front of West Hills Montessori, which had a very close call to a child being hit, by a distracted driver a while back. And the police come when, you know, as long as there's nothing else going on, it's like a Monday morning, it's from 7 to like 8 o'clock in the morning. All 3 District 4 counselors, came and attended. Dacia Graber attended. A lot of us attended. Some of us wore costumes and had signs that the kids made to slow down. And and it was wonderful. It was fun. It reminded people to get off their phone and to be safe. And lots of people got in trouble. I'm looking for the.
Yeah, Julie, I got you up on the behind you. I put up just the blurb from the latest messenger. So this is a nice picture of all the elected officials. And yeah, in 90 minutes, we had 31 vehicles stopped, 20 cited with 22 warnings. So that's a big amount of time. It was the Monday following spring break. So it was a really just good opportunity to remind people to slow down. And Pam and I both have kids at West Hills. So it's also just near and dear to our heart. So yeah, thanks for calling that out, Julie. It was the third one that they have hosted. So it was a really, really great just coming together of many different groups and organizations.
Awesome. I guess one last thing, if folks want to put on their calendar, May 17th, Sunday Parkways is going to come back to Multnomah. I do believe it's going to just be the same route from Gabriel Park to the Village to Spring Garden Park and back in a figure 8 that they've done, I think 3 years now.
This is the 4th year.
This is the 4th year. It was only supposed to be 3 years and they're going to move it. And I think PBOT really likes this alignment. So, and they don't really have many places on the west side to do this either, because it's the only real like neighborhoody spot besides downtown. Okay. Village Park. Do we have an update on Village Park?
I am here to update on Village Park. I'm Andy. Tom, my co-chair on the Village Park Committee, is working. But yeah, we've got a lot going on at Village Park. I'm sure most of you guys know, or for anybody who doesn't, Village Park is just the little park on 36th and Troy, right next to Healthy Pets. There's currently the big dinosaur on the wall. And yeah, over the last couple of years, that has been kind of building from a little bit of a misused eyesore of a lot into what's now kind of a native plant habitat, and it's got bark chips and stuff like that. It's got benches, and we just put 2 new picnic benches that we had secured a grant through District 4 for both some site improvements and the summer concert series programming. So we will be having the summer concert series whole list of all the artists that will be performing. The A-frames for that should be up on Friday, right before Earth Day. And so that'll kind of outline the Sunday Parkways performers, the First Friday performers, and the acts that'll be performing there on Multnomah Days. In addition to that, some big kind of projects that we've been working on for a long time. Oh, thank you. Uh, are so those the picnic tables are kind of wonkily rendered right there. They are actually they're actually in place, and they're kind of where that stage is sitting in that rendering. And the idea is that the picnic tables will generally live on that stage. And then when we are doing musical performances, they'll be moved down to act as seating. And the bench on the left side that's also rendered there, that is a bench that I am currently working on that will be dedicated to Moses, to kind of thank him for his years of work for our neighborhood. I tried to get it timed with the anniversary, but when you're compiling stuff on the cheap, timing's a little tough. And kind of proud to announce I just heard this morning that we should be able to get all of the lumber and all the metal framework for that donated, and then I'll be constructing it. So that bench should be there in place, kind of as a permanent bench. Should be done before Sunday Parkways. The stage is the other kind of big thing that we're working on right now. I do have a contractor who's willing to donate his time to design skills. The covering all the material cost is, sorry, somebody's knocking on my door. Covering all the material costs is the thing that we're just kind of finalizing right now. Just materials at retail would be in the 3,000 range. Sorry, I'm just gonna see how long they keep knocking. But it is, those are all big fun improvements that we're working on planning for this little park. The other huge thing is that mural that's there rendered on the wall. That is designed by a local resident, and the plan is to do a large community paint event. I'm gonna be meeting with the muralist this week to kind of add some more detail lower, stuff kind of under 6 feet that a lot of kids or younger people could paint without anybody needing to be on ladders. So the plan is in late July, the last weekend or the last Saturday of July, to schedule a big community paint event and bring that to life. And for anybody worried about the dinosaur, it will still remain in the village. Fortunately, it's easy to move. And so the current hope is that Mad Sass, in that kind of lower left side of that photo, will be receptive to having that moved down to their wall. So yeah, that's kind of the main update on Village Park. We got a lot of fun concerts coming. And in addition to this planned mural that's rendered there, across the street on the side of Zoom Care, there's also a large mural being painted in late May, early June, through a few different grants, and it's going to be on the side of Zoom Care. So we've got a lot of color, a lot of vibrancy, and functionality coming to our little park. That's just a fun kind of community spot that's currently tenuously donated to the neighborhood. It's not a super formal agreement with the property owner, but he has assured us that he has no immediate plans to do anything or develop. And so while we've got the property, we might as well really take full advantage of it.
Excellent. Andy, thank you. It's so awesome to hear about the cool things happening in the village. Thank you so much.
And doing it on almost no money. It's incredible.
Yeah.
By the way, one question everybody keeps asking is the picture, is this the artwork or is this an example thereof?
So that is, I had to get signs printed for Earth Day, and I had rendered on just a rough example from the artist. And then the morning that I had to send the sign design off, he finally sent me this. And so this is for the site. It's not finalized. We're gonna add more detail lower down. We're gonna change a few things, but that is the general design of what is gonna be going there on site.
Charming.
Very cool.
But any questions for Andy? Thank you so much, Andy
Of course.
and Tom.
All right. I think I'm gonna use my power as president to delegate this announcement to Julie. Earth Day booth,
Oh,
is that you?
yes,
Okay.
I was.
Please, go ahead.
So this, so every Earth Day, every Multnomah Village Earth Day that we've had, M&A has participated in one way, shape, or form. We a lot of times do a trash cleanup, but we had a really big trash cleanup last week, and we couldn't handle it emotionally. So what we're doing this year is we have 3 booths at Village Park. It's Multnomah Neighborhood Association, it's NET, it's Tom and his team, and then also Southwest Watershed. They're going to have a beaver and not a live one, and a salmon paint. They are going to have events. They're going to have things for young people
The
to
salmon
do.
barbecue, I think.
No, it's not that. It's and they have a life cycle. And so what we are looking for is we would like 2 members to be at the M&A booth. There are 3 shifts, 10 to noon, noon to 2, 2 to 4. We have 2 members for the first shift. We have 1 member for the second and 1 member for the third. So we're just looking for board members available on Saturday from noon to 2 or 2 to 4. Reach out to me or to Shelby on that. And we have, it's just, we're just sharing this information, right? This is what this is a Free Geek event that's coming. This is what the mural is going to look like. This is what's going on in the village. This is how you can participate in different things.
And
Peter, I was gonna say Peter.
Help us.
I say Peter, it emailed me just a little bit ago. He has claimed our 2 to 4 spot.
A single one, but
Peter.
we like 2. So
Okay, perfect. I thought you said a member had been there as well.
Saturday the
So
25th?
it's the 18th. It's this Saturday.
It's
This Saturday,
Okay,
the 18th.
before Earth Day, okay.
It is, or I would be correct. They had to pick because they like to
Yeah,
do
Earth Day.
Saturdays. So it's-
Yeah, okay.
Can I add one more event?
Sure.
So for the 6th year,
Oh,
I am organizing a group of, looks like we may have a dozen people who will be out on Capitol Highway at 6:30 Saturday morning with donated cups of coffee from Village Park. And then we
From
will
Village
sweep, Village Coffee. And then we will sweep the gutters of Capitol Highway from 31st up by the MAC to across the viaduct. And after we're done there, Spielman Bagels will feed us, will donate bagels and coffee. And we will have the cleanest 6 blocks in all of Portland, Oregon. So it's a really fun event, and we have a hardy crew who comes out every year to do that.
And remind everybody the time and date.
6:30 a.m. 6:30 a.m. Saturday, Earth Day, April 18th. If you're interested, bring a push broom and a 5-gallon bucket and a dustpan, and we'll give you some coffee and bagels and put you to work.
Excellent. Thank you, Peter. All right. The next item, or more or less the last item on this agenda, we are going to get into the weeds on the 2026 budget. And I've been asked, which is a great idea, to invite folks to stay if you'd like, and to also invite folks to leave if you would like, depending on your appetite to talk about.
so I do have to say that I have everyone's back because I was like, please give everyone the courtesy of, leaving with some grace because of the nature of it. But in our rules, the meeting is recorded. We're doing AI and we'll be posting everything. So if anybody wants to go have dinner and still real excited about learning what we talk about on the budget, it's absolutely
Hey, thank you.
public.
Thank you, guys.
All right, excellent.
Hang on,
Okay.
are we skipping the new business questions, comments?
Let's,
Or
we could do new business. When I asked for new business, I didn't get any, but do you have new business, Sarah? Please.
oh, it was more as the new communications chair, I was trying to get some feedback from folks just in terms of if they've been reading the new messenger. We've made a few changes. Is there any information that they would like to see in the messenger? Anything more, anything less? Do they feel like they know what volunteer positions are open? Just trying to get a little bit of feedback just in terms of our communication channels and if people are feeling they want more or less coming their way.
I'd say from my perspective, what I found with Messenger is that it's been able, like the quick synopsis at the top, and I've been testing it too, like, oh, is there a link if I want to go straight there? And there is. And it's been, the Google, it has been really working well. So I've been able to go to the things I care about, and everything's been working.
People can simmer on it and email me at communications at, just trying to see if there's any gaps that I can help fill in our comms. So.
All right. I'm going to share here. I'm going to hand the floor over to Peter. And I have here, I'm sharing what I tried to edit down to almost a page is the budget for the 2026 year. Peter, is this gonna go, when does this start? Does it start on January 1st to?
Yeah, this is a calendar
December?
year.
Okay.
Yep, our budget is a calendar year. So we're about 4 months behind having an approved budget, but I don't care. As long as we can create a approved budget and stay within it.
And real quick, Peter, I'm gonna just also say that at the end of this discussion, we're gonna hopefully approve a motion, we're gonna have a motion for the board to approve this budget. Okay.
Okay.
So that's the context of this.
Thank you. So I want to open by just reminding people that in our bylaws is a requirement that the committees, that the board has oversight over the committees, over their scope of work, their authorities, their leadership and membership. And we have not done a very good job of doing that in the past year. So this is our first attempt at doing it. My grand vision was that we would have an hour or an hour and a half during which Julie could go to sleep when the board would talk with each committee and each activity, and really be able to drill down into what they're doing, what their plans are, what their budget looks like, and ask questions. That proved to be impractical we just didn't have the time. And the prospect of insufferable boredom was too daunting. So here's what we have done instead of my grand vision. In February, I asked for all the committee chairs and project leaders. That's a distinction I make, by the way, because some of our projects do not have a formal attachment to committees, which is something I think we need to talk about as a board. But I asked all the project leaders to submit a budget. In early March, the treasurer, that's me, and had conversations with each one of the project leaders. There are 10 people who are involved in one leadership position or another. And by the time the March 10th meeting came along, I had a draft budget to present. It's what you see here, although there have been a few modifications and updates and corrections. So the treasurer presented to the board a draft budget, and during that meeting, the board brought up maybe 5 or 6 questions that they asked the treasurer to respond to. And in the last month, I have done that. There's written responses. They're one of the documents in the meeting materials, responding to each one of the 5 questions. what will happen tonight, I hope, is that in this last, as we run up close to 8:30, there will be, well, maybe 8:20. There'll be a chance for one more round of questions from board members. And then we would vote to approve the budget. So, what we missed in this process was really the opportunity for a deep dive into the activities of all our projects. This, the spreadsheet I laid out shows the overall activity of the organization in the first two columns. This year, it's proposed budget compared to last year's actual. So you can see where some of our numbers and priorities and values may be changed. And then a column for each one of the activities. At the top and bottom, the bottom has fallen off the screen here, but each project has an account balance based on their activities, their fundraising activities or their spending activities. And we have ending balances for the end of 2025, and then a projected balance, year-end balance for the December 31st of this year. So we haven't done exactly the big deep dive that I was hoping for, but I'm prepared to declare this a victory for the first our first attempt at having the board work more closely with project leaders. One of the project leaders yesterday, by the way, reassured me by pointing out, she said, "Okay, you're on the board, right?" And I said, "Yes." And you and I have worked through our budget together, right? And I said, "Yes." So there's board oversight, right? And I said, "Fair enough." So this is, I think we've done the best job we could this year with the time and resources that we had available to have a budget. So now is the time for looking at the budget. And I hope you had time to read the responses from the treasurer to the questions that came up last time. I'm not going to go through them now because I trust you all to have read them in your meeting materials. Pardon?
Hopefully it's legible up on the big screen here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, questions. If you have questions, I'm going to ask, if you have questions that are about specific programs, I'll direct you to ask the program or activity leader directly, not the treasurer.
And then real quick, just to go through what we have on the screen.
Yes.
Okay, this gray bar is the starting balance at the beginning of the year.
Right.
This line 22 is our expected revenue
Right.
for this year.
Yep.
And then down here are the proposed expenditures.
Correct.
Summarized for each of these categories.
Yeah.
That will make up what is in this proposed 2026 budget, which is in this column F here.
Yes. And then, so the next line down shows the net operating position. And then the bottom row is the year-end balance for each one of these projects. So this is it's a $20,000 budget with only $14,000 of revenue. This is a deficit budget by $6,000, and it would bring fortunately, most of our activities and projects are carrying forward positive balances from last year and are planning to draw those down. If they cannot attract grants or donations or come up with revenue earnings fees or registration fees, or other methods of supporting their activities. So Tad, I think you had a question.
Yes. And thanks for your call earlier today. This question is following up on that. As I read this, correct me if I'm understanding this right, those projects to the right are not associated with any committee.
Yes.
Okay, I have a concern, I even call it an objection to that. I'm going to read from the bylaws, Article 7. Advisory committees may make recommendations to the board, but cannot implement recommendations or projects without board approval. Now, if a committee can't start a project without board approval, then a non-committee certainly can't either. So I'm asking the board if we can somehow associate.
Sort these into committees.
Yeah.
Julie.
So I love it. I agree with you. It's been freaking me out a little. I do have to say this. So column Q, the Little Free Puzzle Library, it is under livability. It's a separate project for money, but Q, Little Free Puzzle Library, is indeed under livability. I'm managing it with a team of people. It came from the British Book Box, and it's a project that should be complete this summer. And I had submitted a request to the governance committee, and it was a new business, but we have so much other things going on. We did ask 3 questions, and I'll pose them in meeting notes. How do we create community event, reawaken community events committee? How do we add Tom Moore from being a current member and subcommittee? He's sits on the subcommittee of livability. He is asked to be the community events chair. Blah. And then how do we then move Village Park under it, and then maybe at some point moving Friends of Spring Garden under it as well. So those were some questions we posed in March, and I can repose again. And that would stop, that would only leave the mural art project, which should end this year. So
Julie, I have a question for Little Free Puzzle Library. Is that a subcommittee, or is it just something that falls under livability?
So the livability team is helping with it. There's really not that much. David Withers and I are
And it's almost done.
it better be. We're painting it. So so it's always been under the livability because it was the British Book Box rebuild and extra money, and so we built
Yeah, it
this.
sounds like it's just a project of the livability.
Yeah, but on paper we couldn't.
Yeah. Once they start folding things under committees, they lose their fiscal identity. Or it complicates their fiscal identity. But I'll move Little Free Puzzle Library into livability. The others are, the board has to get together and talk about how.
And if there was community events, right, and Parks was under there, that would be cool.
I was going to say, I think where we're
reactivate
at. Sorry, I think there's a delay on my part.
Yeah.
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
I was going to say, with us trying to revamp community events and Tom kind of in the wings, we also have Laura as a project owner of Garage Day Sale, which is one event under community events. So we're kind of trying to bring them along in parallel. So Garage Day Sale, Peter, would go under community events. It's just a matter of bringing them into the loop, bringing Tom into the loop.
Garage sale.
Garage sale day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Just because I know
Right.
Pam's not.
Okay, so what does the board need to do in order to affect these changes? Do we need motions? Do we need a meeting? Do we just governance?
Well, as you've pointed out, the board may establish advisory committees. So if the and also approves projects. So if the board approves moving
I think we need to move all 4 of these into a committee, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so.
For committees, it may be multiple committees.
Okay, so Free Puzzle can go to livability. Garage Day Sale is gonna go to community events.
Which does not exist
It
right
does
now.
not exist. I
posted in the chat our note. Sorry, I posted in the chat our notes from last month's meeting. We had discussed our committee designations and kind of how we were breaking these up. So that's what we took note on last month, if you can see in the chat. So
Right.
so governance, is a committee, Livability is a committee. Underneath that would be Friends of Spring Garden, Friends of Gabriel Park, as there was some talk of them getting reactivated, Village Park, and community events.
Would all be
Another
under
committee would be
livability.
equity, exactly. And then equity, the next would be land use and transportation merged for the two of us. Underneath that would be public safety. And then the next committee and final would be communications.
Agreed, and I just wanted to bring up the fact, I didn't argue the point last month because we were running out of time. But what we had before then was reawakening community events, which then would take Village Park and Spring Garden. So if we did move community, because community events doesn't exist right now, it actually isn't a thing right now. There's nothing under it, there's nothing,
Yeah.
you know, so that's the idea. I would like to see community events become
Okay,
F.
can we table that
Okay.
to later so we can get through this budget?
I think we can be real quick about this.
Yeah.
As I understand it, Tom would like to chair the community
Okay,
events committee.
there we go.
Yes.
As according to the bylaws, the president is authorized to appoint committee chairs. You
Perfect.
could just say it
Let's
and it's
create,
done.
recreate the community events committee
Okay.
with Tom, what's Tom's last name?
More.
Tom Moore as the chair. Great.
Can the president also promote Tom as from a member to a board member? Because we want committee chairs to the director.
No, we need to vote him in.
Okay.
So can someone make a motion? Is Tom willing to be a board member?
He's asking, right?
Yes, he is very
Okay.
much asking.
I move that we fill one of our
Mhm.
board vacancies, director vacancies with Tom Moore.
I second it.
Perfect. Let's vote on it. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Hi.
All right.
All right.
A question, do we have a question, a point of order, whatever you want to call it? Do we have a quorum?
We do. The only directors not in attendance today are Beth.
Wow, it's amazing.
Really? Wow.
Thank you.
Wait,
Okay.
David's not.
David's.
Two.
David.
That's still really good.
Okay. So we now have a community events committee
Yep,
And a chair.
and a chair.
and a chair who's on the board.
Okay.
Perfect.
Diane's got her hand up.
Okay,
Oh,
Diane.
Sorry, I was just gonna go back to the budget, if
Yep.
you're back
Yep.
on. Okay.
Let's do that.
I just had a question on, and I guess a caution, to the board on operating in a deficit, for just not a great practice, especially for young organizations such as MNA, and would encourage each of these events or committee leads to have some sort of a revenue generation plan attached to all of their projects, so that way that their expenditures and revenue line up. I just really would caution that and encourage those kinds of thinking for this organization.
Nita?
Yep.
Yeah, I totally agree. I was thinking the same thing. But I have another question. So do we have to pay taxes? And if so, do we have we don't have to pay taxes?
We don't pay taxes.
Okay.
We're tax exempt.
501c3.
All right. So the other question, for the money that we have left, can we place it in a CD so we can earn some extra money? So that if it's just sitting there, that might be some way to bring a little bit, every
Yeah.
dollar.
Wow.
Yeah, maybe 1/4%. Maybe a little
Yeah,
more
a little
now.
more, yeah.
I think
Sure.
I actually just asked my bank about this recently, and like 3 or 6 month ones are still in the like 4 to 6%.
How
Yeah.
much?
4 to 6.
4 to 6.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, I mean, this was a couple months ago, so it could have changed.
right.
But I don't know how that affects your, status or, that.
It shouldn't. If
Okay.
we get short-term CDs,
Right.
that's not gonna
Okay.
affect us. So what I haven't done with all these projects is show the cash flow month by month. So, but I think I have a good enough sense of that I'd be comfortable tying up money for 90 days. And, you know, it wouldn't be I don't know how much.
Right.
But a lot of this cash is projected to last the whole year. And we could have that earning some money for us.
Right, I mean, we could put part of it like in a longer term CD and part of it could be, you know, some that can flow in and out, maybe something like that. Which. bank
Also,
are
that
we
might be
using?
a good destination for our operating reserves, which is about $1,400 right
Right.
now. And that's emergency money, so
Which bank do we?
good
use?
suggestion, yeah.
Which bank do we use?
One right in the village, right?
Umpqua. Columbia,
Oh, yeah.
now Columbia.
Yeah.
Do they have, I know On Point has the ability to sort of shift money into a higher interest rate account. It's really easy to swap in and out of like your operating account and your other account. That if Umpqua or Columbia has that, that might be an option as well, and those get close to CD rates.
Might be easier as opposed to doing the whole CD route, but still provide almost the same benefit.
Did you know that the head guy at that bank is now the president of Multnomah Village
Matt Austin.
Business Association?
Matt
MBBA?
Austin, he's president? No.
Yeah.
He took over.
Kelly was president.
I heard it was that guy. Don't listen to me.
You could be right. Right. I know he's a new member. He's the only new member of the Business Association Board.
Maybe you got lucky.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay,
I
real
will look
quick.
into
Okay.
putting some more money into some higher earning vehicles.
Okay, and then I'd like to sort these 4 projects into different committees. So Garage Day Sale, that sounds like community events,
Yeah,
correct?
for sure.
Okay. Garage sale and
Village Park is gonna be in community events.
Yep, it's his project.
And mural and art. Livability,
No, it's definitely community events.
so Village Park and then mural and art.
Yep.
And Little Tree Puzzle Library is livability, okay.
So the first 3 are all.
will be
Yeah.
now community events.
Okay.
And these are our official committees now, communications, community events, equity. Friends of Spring Garden Park, I don't believe it's its own committee though, this is under livability, is that correct?
Which Spring Garden Park?
But yeah, it's its own, isn't it?
Spring Garden Park has
Yeah,
its own
okay.
committee.
Oh, I thought it was a subgroup of livability, okay.
We had talked
We,
about that.
yeah, last month, yeah.
Okay, like I said earlier, I left all my notes in my office, sorry. Governance,
What's there?
livability, and transportation, great. So these are our committees, perfect. Okay, let's see here. Any more questions?
Any
I
more
have another
questions?
question.
Yes, please, Diane.
So Peter, I'm just looking at what you posted, the draft budget. And I was just wondering if you could explain, in column D, you have 2025 actuals. We have revenues just over 25,000 and the expenditures was 14,000, leaving a net revenue. So money that would have been in the bank at end of year December 2025 is 11,235, but our starting balance in January was 23,000. How did that?
I assume the difference of this has been what was in the bank starting 2025, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't put the starting balance for 2025. So I'm not sure what,
I assume the starting.
oh, yeah, or
That would be.
yeah, I didn't put account balances for 2025 either starting or ending. But the ending balance of 2025 was the starting balance for 2026.
So like we likely would have had $12,575 at the beginning of 2025. If I did my math correct.
Maybe, I think it was much more than
I
that.
delete that.
Yeah,
Okay,
Okay.
I can find that out, but I don't know it offhand.
Okay. Thank you. Oh, I guess one more question. Sorry. The grants line item, is that for oh, sorry, I just blanked on the term. Restricted funds? Or is
Which grant?
you just have a grant line item, just says grants. I was just wondering if that was the
Those would be,
restricted fund line item.
those would be restricted funds until we earn them, and then they would land in the grants line. So that's not a distinction I make on this budget. In other words, I don't have financial position statements for each one of these projects.
Okay.
But when a grant comes in, it's a liability until we do the work. And
Right, but
then
it's
we
also
earn it, then
restricted
we
for
earn it
whichever
as a grant.
project that is.
Yeah.
okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other additional questions?
I would say, to Anita's point, anybody who wants to think creatively about ways to help the community, especially if we can help the community and help gain resources, financial resources, propose, projects and programs. A lot of these things, the Can-Dowment was Peter's idea. A lot of these things are just ideas. There's also grants out there for people that have the wherewithal to do new projects. And we do a lot of times get a processing fee or an administrative fee for it. So if somebody said, I'm willing to put in the work to do whatever an environmental project, and I'm gonna get a grant for $5,000 and do the work. A lot of times M&A can charge, 8%, 12% of that grant for administrative fees. So that's helpful as well. So, and to Peter's point, I don't do it enough. I tout all the things that we do, but I don't ask for people to financially support M&A as much as I should, so.
Yeah, and I think the future of the association will depend on that. It will depend on philanthropic giving by people who appreciate what we're doing. And
Or we'll have to drastically tighten up what our expenditures are.
Yeah,
starting
or
very
cut
soon.
expenses.
It seems like 2025, there was a lot of income that came in, and we didn't get to spend it all in 2025 is kind of the way I'm seeing it.
That's a really good point. We got some very handsome windfalls, 4 figures, $2,000 for communication, $3,000 for equity. And those kinds of grants we don't expect to see in the future.
Okay, in honor of Moses Ross and in light of the Blazers being in a playing game right now for the playoffs, I kind of feel like
You want to know the score?
A motion.
Yeah.
Yes.
I need just a couple of minutes. I've got
Please,
two quick things. One is to add to what I had said earlier about Christopher's resignation.
Yeah.
It's not wrong for me to say that his telling another board member that he's resigning, but even better, I looked it up after I said that. Even better if he were to send an email to the president. The president then brings that to the board, not for our approval. We can't reject a resignation, but we do need to acknowledge it, formalize it, for the sake of formalizing that there is an opening. So if you would ask him to send an email.
To formalize what? An opening?
An opening on the board, yeah. Yeah. The second thing, we still haven't had the governance committee meeting about community development, and I want to try that again. I want to resend that, but Stefan, I just can't do it without you.
Okay, yes.
Primarily because, as it says here, you are the one authorized to appoint committee chairs. And there are, we made some big progress in talking about the budget with committee development, but there are still some questions. So I will resend really the same invitation to find a time, and then Peter, I'll ask you to send out a Zoom invitation once we figure out what time.
Mainly the three of us, and then anyone else who is interested.
David and Diane are also
And
on
Anita.
the.
Yes.
and Anita.
Okay.
Governance committee.
Yes, the governance committee.
Excellent.
Yeah, I thought it was,
Yeah, right here.
Anita was the three that you referred to.
Okay.
So watch for that, please.
So can I move that this budget be
Yes.
approved?
All right.
I so move. Oh, can the treasurer move on the budget?
Can I second?
Thank you.
Okay. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
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 All opposed to the motion, say nay. All right, the motion is approved. As this budget with the amendments of moving those projects into the, oh, thanks, Diane, I've got it recorded. Into the appropriate committees, Peter.
Okay,
All right, thank you all.
thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
All right, anything else before we adjourn? Okay, next meeting is going to be Tuesday, May 12th. We'll see you all there. Thank you.
Thanks.
Hey, we had some
Bye.
guest speakers tonight.
you.
Would someone
Bye.
like to send a thank
Bye.
you note?